Today on the newscast, we are high atop mighty Mount Carmel in northern Israel to break down the threats gathering at Israel's doorstep and how they affect you with former Israeli National Security Advisor Major General Yaakov Amidror. That's next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast and welcome to Mount Carmel. I am in northern Israel, atop the very site where the prophet Elijah faced off with the so-called prophets of Baal as laid out in 1 Kings chapter 18. Now Elijah's God, our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, won a resounding victory in that climactic showdown as laid out in the Bible. And folks, what a view Elijah had some 2,800 years ago, where I am standing right now. The Mediterranean Sea is behind me. Beautiful landscape here all around northern Israel. Israel's third largest city, Haifa, is not far away as well. So a great place to film. We filmed an entire episode of The Watchman Show today all about the story of Elijah and why it is still relevant today. I think about God telling Elijah, encouraging him that he still had 7,000 men who had not bent their knee to Baal. Elijah was not alone. We're going to dig into all of that. We're here all week filming for the Watchman Newscast and for the Watchman Show on TBN. And one of the interviews we were very fortunate to get was with Israel's former National Security Advisor, Major General Yaakov Amidror. Now, Amidror filled that role under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during Netanyahu's second tenure as prime minister a few years ago. Amidror was in the room, whether it was high-level meetings at the White House or other capitals around the world. He is a man who knows of what he speaks when it comes to national security, threats to Israel, threats to this region, and really threats that affect you no matter where you live. We broke down Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, that Iran-Russia relationship, and how it all impacts Israel. And folks, look, the timing of our interview was important, I believe, because we're hearing reports in recent days that the U.S. and Sunni Arab nations here in the region are increasingly concerned, joining Israel's concern, of course, about Iran's drone and ballistic missile programs and the threat they pose. Let's go to Jerusalem now in my interview with Major General Yaakov Amidror. General Amidror, it is always great to have you here with us in Jerusalem. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for inviting me. With this view behind me, I am ready to come.
That is right. It never gets old, General. Hey, so much to talk to you about. As the former National Security Advisor of Israel, we can start in a pretty general place, no pun intended. I think of Iran, of course, off the bat, but what do you see as Israel's greatest national security challenges right now?
No question that Iran is the most problematic one, to prevent Iran from having nuclear military capability. But we cannot forget that it is not Iran by itself. Iran succeeded to build in the Middle East kind of a ring of fire around Israel. Yes. The strongest part of it is Hezbollah in Lebanon, with almost 100,000 rockets and missiles that can be used tomorrow morning against Israel. The hub that the Iranians build in western Iraq, which has militias and capabilities which led by Iran, controlled by Iran. And the Houthis in Yemen, which are not against Israel, but against Saudi Arabia and its neighbors, the threat that they are announcing, we have to take into consideration to think how we are defending ourselves.
Iran seems to be becoming a drone powerhouse here in the region and beyond, even supplying Russia now with drones. It seems that in a future conflict with the Iranian regime and that ring of fire that you mentioned, drone warfare will be a major component of it.
No question. We are taking into account. We are preparing ourselves. We succeeded to prevent the Iranians from building a huge hub of drones in Syria. They tried to do it. They didn't succeed, at least up till now. We are taking into account that from Lebanon, we might see attack of drones, which owned by that Hezbollah owns today. Yes, it will be a new problem in the Middle East, a new problem in the battlefield. a new threat to Israel, and we will have to deal with it.
Yeah, and you think of the ballistic missiles and the rockets as well that Iran is supplying.
Yes, but for that you have to remember we have tools to deal with. It's from Arrow 3 that we have, it's a joint venture with the Americans, to Iron Dome, which is a pure Israeli project. We have a lot of experience. The drones is something new. We don't have the experience, although we succeeded to intercept at least 6 drones up till now.
Yeah.
But this is not the problem that we are facing in the future. In the future, it will be big numbers.
And then we have this Iron Beam laser defense system potentially that Israel is working.
Oh, we are waiting for that. We are waiting. We are doing whatever is needed. There were some tests which were very satisfied, but it will take probably another 1 year or 2 till we will have it operationally in the battlefield defending Israel. Yes, laser might be a huge difference and a very important munition that we will use in the future.
We've got the Iranian regime right now supplying Russia with these suicide drones. Perhaps ballistic missiles are coming eventually as well. Are you concerned about not only Iran's role in Ukraine, but what this Iran-Russia alliance will do to Russia's relationship with Israel?
We tried to convince the world for years that Iran is a source of, how to say it in English, evilness. And we didn't succeed. No one bought it. They will say, yes, Iran is a problem, but you are exaggerating. Slowly now we see more Europeans that understand, no, Iran is a real source of huge, very huge problematic attitude towards peace and war and attacking civilians and so on and so forth. How far the Iranians will ready to go, I don't know yet, because they understand that it's problematic from their point of view. How far the Russians will be ready to cooperate with the Iranians. At the end of the day, we have 150 miles north of Israel. There are Russians, 2 bases, Navy and Air Force. Our concern at the end of the day is not to let the Iranians to build the second element of the ring of fire in Syria, and for that we have to have open line with the Russians. Otherwise, the Russians can use their capabilities to disturb us from acting in Syria. So this is something that no one who is involved in Ukraine has, and we have to think about this specific issue when we are dealing with the Ukraine war.
Are you concerned about a potential falling out, at least diplomatic falling out, between Israel and Russia, and even an end to that so-called deconfliction mechanism where Russia has pretty much stood aside in Syria and allowed Israel to operate freely? Could a day come where Russia says no more?
It cannot be excluded, but we try to prevent it from happening, and we don't want to contribute to to such an event. This is why we are so cautious when it is coming to the war in Ukraine.
Thanks again to Israel's former National Security Advisor, Major General Yaakov Amidror, for those great insights. Check out more of his work at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. Folks, if you like that interview, you want to see the entire show, tune in to TBN tomorrow night. That's Thursday, February 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you like the newscast here on YouTube, you will love our weekly show on TBN, also called The Watchman. We are on the ground in Israel and points beyond, bringing you the kind of analysis you just heard from Major General Amidror. You can check it out tomorrow night or the re-air Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to stay with us this entire week here on the newscast. We've got some great content coming to you from the land of Israel. Hey, keep us in prayer. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. A lot of unrest going on there right now, as we discussed on yesterday's newscast. But thanks for joining us from Mount Carmel today. Until tomorrow, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.